We are being told that you have several days and then the war will start. And I said, okay, then apply the sanctions today. Yes, they say, we apply sanctions when the war will happen. I'm saying, fine, but you are telling me that it's 100% that the war will start in a couple of days. Then what are you waiting for?
And that's the question that I would have. Okay, if we think this is going to happen and we want to deter it, and sanctions deter, what is the argument against having imposed them, say, 2 weeks ago?
Oklahoma Senator James Lankford recently sponsored a bill that would impose heavy sanctions on Russia, preventing them from selling oil to the rest of the world. And I think it's actually a pretty decent approach. Ukrainian president was recently frustrated with the Biden administration for saying that they would wait a little bit before they would impose sanctions. He's really worried about Russia coming in because we all know that Putin really wants to add Ukraine back to the former Soviet empire and swallow up the rest of that land. That's the whole point of NATO, as we all know, to prevent that from happening. And so Ukrainian president actually recently expressed his frustrations with the Biden administration for waiting on these sanctions. And so I think that this approach from James Lankford really isn't all that crazy. He's not talking about dropping bombs on Russia. He's just saying, hey, if we really want to stop Russia from advancing into Ukraine, let's cut off their supply. Let's make it so that they can't make the money that they really need. And that likely will push them back without really advancing us further, because, as he said, it's harder to, reverse a war once it's already started than it is to prevent it from happening before the first shot gets fired. And as James Lankford pointed out, we've all seen this movie before. What happens when Europe goes to war? There's still a handful of veterans alive who experienced World War II, and that was the bloodiest conflict that humanity's ever gone through. And we simply can't allow it to happen again. And so the Ukrainian president's frustration with the Biden administration makes perfect sense. If we have the power to prevent Putin from thinking that he can do this, from thinking that he can spark a war that would likely take years and millions of lives as a price, we have to do it. He pointed out how small Russia's economy truly is, and that's one of the reasons why Putin wants to expand that landmass back and swallow up all the countries that the Soviet Union used to claim, because that will add greatly to Russia's economy, Russia's power of influence, Russia's geopolitical influence, everything you can imagine. And so if we put these sanctions down now, it just might be what it takes to keep Putin from being too bold. This may be one of the most sound foreign policy clips that Fox has ever released. And what James Lankford said is true about Putin. Putin responds to strength. And if you meet strength with strength, you got something. But if you meet strength with weakness, you're going to get rolled over. And unfortunately, that is a truth of humanity. That's a truth of government. That's a truth of power. That's why having a military at all is necessary. Because if people think that they can just come and take what's yours, they will. Now, obviously, that also can lead into bad things of having a culture, like we have, of being, severely over-militarized, having way too many bases around the world, putting way too many American tax dollars into the military to secure our empire. However, when we're dealing with an empire that wants to expand like Russia, we have to do everything we can to show Putin, like, nah, man, you cannot do this. The whole world is against it, and you can't think that you can just march up in here and take it. Now, obviously, it's more complicated than that. But if you're going to put these sanctions down, don't wait until the first shot is fired. Do it now. Prevent the first shot from being fired.